Hi, I'm Rick Brown. It's with great pleasure that I present this second segment to our Introduction to the Apocalypse Study Guide. We'll be discussing the table of contents, chart layout, and a brief description of each of the 6 charts. Let's start with the table of contents, which is found on Roman numeral pages 3, 4, and 5. The table is organized around 8 videos. The videos are structured to match the 6 chart themes, plus an introduction and review. The top blue ribbon identifies each of the 6 charts. Next, you will notice Dr. C's supporting lectures for each chart are listed by lecture number, title, and page. Lastly, additional thoughts are easily identified in blue type, each with its title and page. You may want to pause this video to check out some of the incredible topics. These 6 charts present a panoramic view, allowing us to see how all the interlocking pieces fit together. This tribulation timeline graphically identifies the charts associated with the first half and the last half of the tribulation. Taken as a whole, these charts may appear overwhelming. This introduction video will unpack the charts by exploring each chart's layout and previewing its events. Subsequent videos will review each chart separately in greater detail. Now let's look at the chart layout using this markup of seals broken. Each column describes specific events or scenes illustrated with artwork and a brief narrative. The blue ribbon just below the chart title identifies the relevant Revelation chapter and verse and Dr. C's pertinent lecture number. Just under the blue ribbon, charts 2, 3, and 5 include the seal, trumpet, and bowl numbers 1 through 7 respectively. Events occurring in heaven or on earth are separately displayed as a split screen on charts 2 through 6. The 8 videos complement the study guide. A QR code is included to simplify locating the videos online. Let's consider their content. In this introduction video, we have reviewed the prologue, table of contents, and Apocalypse Illustrated. Lastly, we will preview the events of each of the 6 charts. The second video examines chart 1, the third video chart 2, the fourth video chart 3, and so forth. And finally, the 8th video consists of review, questions, and answers. Beginning with chart 1, before the tribulation, the Apostle John was in the Spirit on the island of Patmos when Jesus appeared to him in a vision, having 7 golden candlesticks in his hand, symbolizing the 7 churches of Asia. These 7 churches portray the 7 phases of church history: loveless, persecuted, compromising, corrupt, dead, faithful, and finally, the Laodicean lukewarm church, which is predominant today, where they recognize Jesus as the Messiah, but they don't pursue a personal relationship with him. These 7 churches represent the entire church body at all times and places. Every age, every denomination, and nearly every congregation contains specimens of each. Jesus' judgment of these churches is symbolic of the judgment seat of Christ. Confirmed in 1 Peter, judgment must begin with the house of God. In the next scene, John hears a trumpet calling him up hither, depicting the first rapture. The Apocalypse portrays 5 raptures, referring to them as the first resurrection. These raptures include both resurrected bodies of the dead and live translations of the living. This first rapture is such a small group amongst the 8 billion people alive that it will barely be noticed. Between seals 6 and 7, the great multitude of palm bearers is translated. At mid-tribulation, 144,000 Jews are translated. Later, the translation of Elijah and Enoch starts the 7th bowl of wrath. The last rapture occurs towards the very end of the 7th bowl of wrath. There is yet one last resurrection after the millennium. The Lord raises the dead for their final assignment to the lake of fire at the great white judgment throne of Christ. The firstborn church is raptured as kings and priests and is not mentioned again as the church, confirming the present church age has run its course. The elders and the living ones John observes in God's throne room are proven to be saints, for they sing their unique song thanking Jesus for their salvation. Our Holy Father gives Jesus the earth's title deed, identifying him as the only eligible person to break the 7 seals, releasing the earth to receive its jubilee. How soon after the church rapture will the tribulation begin? Allowing time for the Jerusalem temple and the city of Babylon to be restored, could it be the prophesied Ezekiel 38 war will enable Israel to take control of the Temple Mount site and rebuild the temple? Also giving the Antichrist the opportunity to come on the world scene as a phony peacemaker, signing a peace pact with Israel. Let's consider chart 2, seals broken. All 7 seals must be broken to complete Earth's redemption. The impact of these broken seals will be felt over 1/4 of the earth, most likely the Mediterranean Sea and the surrounding area. The white horse symbolizes the outpouring of God's Spirit, causing a great awakening, as prophesied in Joel 2:28. Then, after doing all these things, I will pour out my Spirit upon all people. Many commentators believe this is the Antichrist deceiving people with a false peace. Dr. Sees disagrees. Throughout Revelation, the Antichrist is referred to as the beast, never a white horse. The red horse signifies peace completely removed. Wars erupt throughout the Mediterranean area. The black horse portrays famine and scarcity, triggered by the abandonment of all farming. The pale horse depicts the final consequences, being pestilence and death. The breaking of the 5th seal describes a scene in which the spirit and soul of an extraordinary category of martyrs are under the heavenly altar. Their resurrected bodies was not yet redeemed because their company is not complete. They cry out for their ransomed bodies. Breaking the 6th seal releases great disasters. Earthquakes generate ground-shaking landslides, fissures, avalanches, fires, volcanoes, ash, tsunamis, mountains move, islands disappear, the heavens recoil, the sun turns black, the moon red, and the sky is filled with shooting stars. In horror, men take this to be the end of the world. Between the 6th and 7th seals, 4 angels withhold the 4 winds, providing a calmness as the Lord turns his focus to Israel with a sealing of 144,000 Jews with his spirit to evangelize Zion. The translation of the great multitude includes many of those left behind. They receive a lesser reward as palm bearers, serving in God's heavenly temple. Consequently, the fullness of the Gentiles is fulfilled as anticipated in Romans chapter 11. The breaking of the 7th seal introduces a great silence in heaven in anticipation of coming catastrophic events. The conclusion of this quiet initiates the blowing of the trumpets. These 7 trumpets usher in Jesus' Jubilee. The first trumpet brings about hail and fire mingled with blood over 1/3 of all trees. All green grass is burnt. At the sounding of the second trumpet, 1/3 of the Mediterranean Sea creatures and ships are destroyed by a gigantic meteor compared to a great mountain burning with fire. When the third trumpet is sounded, a huge star burning like a torch fell on 1/3 of the rivers, poisoning them with wormwood. Next, 1/3 of the sun, moon, and stars are obscured when the 4th angel blows his trumpet. The next 3 trumpets generate much woe and misery for all of mankind, except those with the seal of God on their forehead. The fifth woe trumpet signals the release of locusts with scorpion tails from the abyss. Their sting torments men without mercy for 5 months. These satanic locusts are forbidden to kill, causing men to desire death, but it is denied them. 200 million horses with lion heads and snake tails are released when the sixth woe trumpet is sounded. 1/3 of the world's population is slaughtered by the fire, smoke, and sulfur that spews from the mouths of these hellish creatures over the next 13 months. Several critical scenes occur between the sixth and seventh trumpets. First, the Apostle John eating the earth's title is symbolic of the church receiving our inheritance. Second, Jesus retakes the possession of the earth, and then the measuring of the temple suggests Jesus taking ownership of the temple. Nevertheless, the Antichrist desecration of the Holy of Holies is tolerated for the last half of the tribulation. The Lord's two witnesses, Elijah and Enoch, are activated from heaven to restore fallen Israel and call down plagues for the last 3.5 years. When their mission is complete, the Antichrist is permitted to kill them, initiating the 7 bowls of wrath. When the seventh woe trumpet is blown, a proclamation is heard. The kingdom of the world is become our Lord's and his Christ's, and he shall reign to the ages of ages. However, before the bowls of wrath, several pivotal scenes take place. These are signs concerning saints of all ages. This glorious pregnant woman embodies both the Old and New Testament church, birthing saints for the kingdom. The child in her arms symbolizes the saints. The next scene depicts the devil's original rebellion and his subsequent devouring of saints as they are birthed. Returning to future scenes, the devil rebels, is defeated, and finally cast out of heaven. As the saints are escaping to her place, the devil's army pursues them, but is swallowed by the earth. The Antichrist is a friend of Israel during the first 3.5 years. Then at midpoint, the Antichrist is assassinated, and Satan brings the spirit of the Antichrist from the abyss, reviving him back to life as a merciless tyrant. Another beast, the false prophet, eliminates all religions and requires worship of the Antichrist only. The Antichrist desecrates the temple when he places his image in the Holy of Holies. His mark, 666, is required to buy and sell. After the 144,000 Jews' evangelistic mission is fulfilled, they are translated to heaven. The coming harvest and vintage are accomplished by way of the impending pouring out of God's wrath. The desecration of the temple infuriates God, initiating the pouring out of his wrath as his final crushing judgment of the remaining hard-hearted inhabitants. The brief description of each bowl lends to the overall impression they will occur in rapid succession, accumulating and multiplying the misery of each bowl. The 7 archangels pour the 7 bowls of wrath. The first bowl inflicted malignant ulcers on all men with the mark of the beast. The second bowl was poured onto the sea, turning it to blood, killing all sea creatures. The third bowl caused the rivers and fountains to turn to blood as well. When the fourth bowl was poured over the sun, its rays became flames, scorching all men. The fifth bowl forces the sun to burn out, leading to total darkness. The sixth bowl, poured out on the Euphrates River, dries it up, allowing the armies of the east easy access. Then 3 frog demons are released to gather the Antichrist army for the battle of Armageddon. Finally, Elijah and Enoch's death and rapture trigger the 7th bowl. All the opposing armies are consumed with fire. Massive earthquakes and gigantic hailstones bring an end to the present dispensation. Shortly before the end, the final rapture of the saints occurs. The origin and ruin of false religions is introduced with the image of a Babylonian whore, representing all false religions. Having said that, the seed of this false religions is attributed to Nimrod, the great-grandson of Noah. He was the first tyrannical king requiring strict obedience and worship. When God intervened at Babel, dispersing the people, the seeds of Nimrod's false religions went with him. Returning to future scenes, the Antichrist restored the city of Babylon before the tribulation started. All of his greedy, corrupt worldwide commerce originated from there. The religions of the Babylonian whore and the Antichrist city of Babylon are destroyed. Looking back after the final rapture, but before the Battle of Armageddon, we celebrate the marriage feast of the Lamb, portrayed on chart 6 after the tribulation. Returning to the Battle of Armageddon, Jesus defeats the devil's armies. The Antichrist and the false prophet are cast into the lake of fire, and the devil is cast into the abyss for the millennium. During the millennium, Jesus and his saints rule the earth, strictly enforcing a divine theocracy. At the end of these 1,000 years, the devil is loosed to gather those who reject the lordship of Jesus for his last rebellion. Following his final defeat, the devil is cast into the lake of fire for eternity. The millennium is concluded with a great white throne judgment, at which point Jesus judges those who rejected his salvation to the lake of fire forever. Our imaginations are fully engaged as the last amazing scenes paint the picture of the regenerated earth and the New Jerusalem as it comes into position, floating above the earth, further describing the river of life flowing throughout the New Jerusalem with a tree of life on either side. The nations dwelling on the new earth are those who accepted the lordship of Jesus during the millennium. This concludes this video. For those interested in purchasing the Apocalypse Study Guide, email your request, your name, address, and phone number to rick.revelations@gmail.com. You will receive an invoice with payment options for each study requested. In the next video, Before the Tribulation, Chart 1, we'll discuss Jesus coming to Patmos, the 7 churches, the first rapture, and the presentation of the Lord's judgment throne room in more detail.